Let's get it on record. Hi guys, welcome back finally to the Lean with Leanne Confessions of a Diet Queen podcast. I am really excited to be joined with my first guest of 2022 with the lovely Chloe Hodgkinson, so I'm going to bring her in. Hello. Can I hear you? I can hear you.
Fancy.
I know, yeah, it's pretty cool, isn't it? So, first of all, thank you so much for coming on the podcast and taking some time to talk to us about some exciting things. I'm sure there are some people, I know a lot of my girls follow you already, but if you could give us a little introduction as to who you are and what you're all about, that would be amazing.
Yeah, sure. I think my thing's a little bit delayed.
Yeah, mine is as well on the video, but it does catch up eventually, I think.
I'm Chloe. I am a bit like the period girl on the internet, really. I talk a lot about periods, female hormones, disordered eating, and things like that on Instagram. And then as a separate business, I also run a social media and marketing agency as well.
Wow. Loads of things. So I obviously know Chloe because she used to work at Winners 2000 in Newton Abbott and then became this sort of internet superstar talking about periods and stuff. Like me, the reason why I love looking at your content and stuff is because it's based on your own journey and your own experience. So could you just fill in the listeners a little bit about your journey and how you kind of got involved with all of this stuff?
Yeah, sure. So I got into fitness when I was always quite sporty. It was more like horse riding and playing netball and stuff like growing up. And then when I was like 14, I started going to the gym with my friends. At 16, I started taking it a little bit too seriously. It was definitely to sort of like impress other people, if you like. And just sort of did it to start losing weight, but I never really appreciated sort of the fact that I wasn't unhealthy, do you know what I mean? But I thought, okay, well, actually happiness is going to come when I lose any extra weight that I've already got. Happiness will come when I'm small, basically. I started really innocently. I started going to gym classes. I did jump on a lot of mum's diets and stuff like that. I think I was very much interested in sort of like these typical diets that were going on. I tried everything. And when I was younger, and then I started to take the gym a bit more seriously, and that's when I started to learn more about protein shakes and HIIT and all these different types of training, and I was like, oh my god, I want it all.
Yeah.
All of this stuff is going to be the answer for me. This stuff is going to bring me happiness. So I dived straight into it, and then I went to uni and I studied fashion media and marketing, but quickly realised that actually I didn't really give a crap about Topshop or Zara and stuff like that. Actually what I cared about was I want to know what Nike are doing next season. I want to know what Adidas are doing. So I flipped and turned my whole uni course to be like fitness and like activewear. Trained as a personal trainer to help me in that, and I just went in. I fell down, and it's such a good hole to fall down if you can manage it. But unfortunately, there was no way. I was sucked right in, and I was really restricting my calories, training all the time. Then I came out of a really long relationship and I decided to come off the pill. I've been on the pill from I was 15, and then we broke up when I was 21. So I just thought, I had this big. If anyone's come out of a long-term relationship, you have such this empowerment mode. I was like, I'm coming off the pill. And it was really weird. It was I booked Australia. I did loads of stuff, before attempting to blow up. Came off the pill, and my period never came back. Now I had started to do a little bit of research and sort of thought that it was at this time there was nothing. There was two doctors, which was Nicole Jardim and Rena McGregor, that were talking about it. Rena McGregor's a dietitian. I thought maybe this applied to me, but I'll wait 3 months because that's what the doctor always says. Waited 3 months, period never came back. Went back to the doctors. They said wait another 3 months, and this went on for about a good 9 months, and I sort of was aware that I maybe did have a bit of a problem with my food and stuff, because I remember sitting on the edge of my bed and thinking, God, is this my life now? Like, how do people have kids and maintain this level of workout and food? Do you know what I mean? I was like, shit, maybe like, this is just how I live now. Maybe this is how everyone else that's into fitness lives. Like, is this the path I've chosen? And then all my family like didn't really get it, because I was sort of like a very functioning disordered eater. I did it really well to everyone else, I just looked fit and healthy, you know. They didn't know that in my head I was like stressing about the calories in black tea, stuff like that. And then my family started taking it seriously when I had another load of bloods done, and my kidneys came back as really low functioning. And that's when my mum was like, oh, this isn't actually that good, is it? So I booked in to see Rena McGregor, really like well-respected sports dietitian, and she came back and like looked at all my bloods and was like, yeah, you need to stop.
Wow, what a story. I mean, it's really refreshing to hear somebody quite similar to my story talk about it and be open about it, because that whole, what you said about, you know, you thought once you'd reached that, being that small or being that skinny, that happiness would happen. Like, I totally relate to that, because I remember even at one point thinking to myself, if I'm skinny enough that someone says to me they're worried about me, then I'm going to be really happy. And then when you reflect on that, you think, oh my God, that is so fucked up. It is insane.
I still remember hearing someone, I think it was like an anorexic story, that she said that at one stage all she did was eat a red pepper for dinner. And I remember thinking, I'm going to try that.
Yeah.
And it's like those sorts of little thoughts that you, like if I went to bed hungry, I thought, nailed it today.
Oh my God, I literally was exactly the same. Like, the sound of my stomach rumbling in bed, I was like, yes, today I've won today. And it's crazy that it feels like there's a whole load of other women in particular that are having that same thought process and going through that and thinking that it's okay. And I think me and you have quite a similar message, you know, the whole restrictive diet and over exercise thing, because we've been there ourselves. It's just like, we're just trying to wave the flag, like, you don't have to do this to be healthy.
Yeah, it's mad, and there are so many, like, to the point I can't keep up with my DMs now. Like I used to be able to reply like every day, and now it's taking me like 3-4 days just to get through them, because and that goes to show like the amount of people that are going through it. When I stick a Q&A box up on Instagram, I am flooded to the point that I'm overwhelmed. Like, I'm like, I don't even know where to begin.
Yeah. What do you think is like the most common question you get asked?
I think you could. I'd have to categorise it. So one is how much food do people really need to eat? How much weight gain? Like they don't want to gain weight, and why they feel like they have to gain weight. And actually, I'd say the most common question is how do I get my period back without changing anything I'm doing?
Yeah.
Because there's such a fear that, well, change is scary anyway, but there's such a fear that if we go against what society and diet culture tells us to eat more and do less, that bad stuff's going to happen. When actually, like, it's really hard when you're in that mindset, and when you're so swamped by the fitness industry and diet culture. And don't get me wrong, eat less, move more is so beneficial to the majority of the population. But you doesn't mean that you are the majority of the population. Like, you can be that different number, and if that is you, then like that's okay, but that's really hard to get in your head. I did a video on it that's going to go up later. Maybe today, I don't know. But it's basically like saying that, like, you've got to think of like recovery and coming out of disordered eating. You're not swimming downhill, you're swimming uphill, because like upstream, because you're not only having to go and do makes changes. You're having to go against everything that you've wired your brain to think of, but also you're going against what the world is suggested as well, and that's really, really hard. Because it's really hard to think about, like, how is that going to be beneficial to me? How is life better then when everyone else is doing like the opposite?
Yeah, I 100% get that. One of my questions was, for you, how mentally hard was recovery? Because I know, as someone who's spent years trying to be the skinniest version of myself, that the fear was constantly, and sometimes still is, that whole, what if I put on weight, it's almost like it's the worst thing that could possibly happen to you. So when you are in recovery and you've got to try and accept that you have to exercise less and eat more, how do you overcome and accept the fact that, okay, maybe my body is going to change a little bit, but it's okay because this is what I need to do?
It's really hard, isn't it? I am very grateful, and as much as the past couple of years have been horrendous for us all, I was really grateful that actually I fully went for it when I was in lockdown, like when it came to recovery. So I was living alone in my 2-bed apartment. I didn't have to go to work, and I couldn't go to the gym. Like I was working from home, so I was a brand manager in sportswear, and I was a PT on the side, and I was going back to the gym and stuff. So I was in that world so much. So try to get me to change when I'm not only like going against society and shit like that, I'm also I'm surrounded by triggers constantly. So take me out of that, and I was like, okay, fine. But I know that that's not easy. But that's not, especially now the world's going back to normal, that's not the case. But that's why the mental stuff is so hard. You have to, I always say, you can eat as much as you like and you can rest as much as you like. But if you're not looking at the relationship you have with yourself and how you view yourself, like you're never going to recover properly. That I knew that there was like people I needed to fully leave behind in my past. I knew there was like I was potentially hanging around with people that didn't align with that. Do you know what I mean? I was having habits, and until you get really true and honest with yourself about like how you look at yourself and how you're living your life compared to the life that you want to live, I think it's really, really hard to make those changes.
I think that is such an important point. Like when I'm coaching my girls, it's like a lot of people I work with have disordered eating because I think we have that relatability factor, so people come to us for help. But I think people forget the bigger picture, don't they? I think they think that they're either going to stop their disordered eating, whether it's binge eating or bulimia or anorexia or, you know, high restrictions, but they don't think about all of the other situations that are actually really the cause of what is going on, and having to make decisions to, like you say, walk away from potential people that maybe aren't aligning with your future self, or maybe removing yourself from environments that are triggering you and causing this pattern of behavior. And I think it's really important that that's brought up and that people see the bigger picture when it comes to recovery.
And I also think it's like just to add on that, it's like I'm not suggesting that you need to end relationships going by yourself in a 2-bedroom apartment. I know that's not realistic. But what I am saying is like it's like getting so clear on how you're living your life and looking at like the reasons behind living your reasons why you're living your life as it is. So like realistically, my food control, which really is what it was, I just wanted to control everything and changing my body. That wasn't really anything to do with my body. It was deep-rooted feelings of feeling out of control and feeling not good enough. So if you can find like the feeling like and working with whoever to be able to work out what it is like when you feel like you need to binge on a weekend and then start that diet. And like when I say start the diet, I don't mean just eat a little bit healthier and go to the gym or like cutting everything out on a Monday. Like what are those real feelings? Are you just feeling a little bit out of control, or do you have other factors in your life that actually make you feel like shit? And they're the things that you need to address. Maybe it is a relationship you're in that is making you feel like you need to change yourself. But also, it might be the fact that actually work is really stressful and you don't quite know how to manage it. So instead, you're so out of control that you'll manage your food. Do you know what I mean? And it's like looking at like what it is deeper within you that are the reasons why you're acting the way you're acting. It's even like when you look at results in the gym, when I'm sure people come to you and say like, I never stick to the gym, or I never stick to my healthy routine, and they're in this sort of like cycle. It's like, why don't you feel you're good enough to stick to your routine? Like, what's the feelings underneath all of that? Do you feel like you're not worthy enough to live your dream? In fact, I literally just before this podcast had a call with one of my girls, and she was saying about how you know she'll picture her dream self. I work a lot with like stepping into who you actually really want to be, and she's like, I'll picture it, and then I think, oh, but what if I'm just adding more to my plate and stuff like that? And I said, like, so basically, you're deciding what you want to be, and then you're telling yourself that actually you don't deserve that. and who are you to do that? And that's a lot of the time. Like, I see it so much in recovery. Like, who are you to recover? Who are you to stick in a gym routine? Or, do you know what I mean? There's so much, and I think women. Sorry, I'm proper rambling, but
it's okay. I love it.
Especially women especially come up against those feelings of unworthiness and feelings of not good enough, and feeling out of control as well.
100%. And I think when I think about that in my journey, is that I get a lot of that from social media and what I follow and who I follow and what I'm engaging in. Because when I first started as a personal trainer, I remember walking into Winners and because of my shit that I had, thinking I don't belong here, I'm not worthy to be a trainer here. Like, I wasn't walking around as someone who had a past that had been to the Olympics or had ever been into sport. You know, I was not that person. I was the complete antithesis of that. And I was like, I can't be a personal trainer because I used to hate sport. I used to forge a note to do swimming. I never wanted to do PE. But that was my own stuff. And then I realised just before lockdown that if I was going to probably be consuming the social media more because I'm at home and I can't work, that I really needed to make the decision to monitor what it was I was looking at, because it's so easy to follow the Gymshark models and follow, you know, the famous bodybuilder females and then just spend the whole time feeling like, well, I'm never going to achieve that, and just feel like shit that I thought I've just got to unfollow all of that stuff because it's just pushing me back, it's not pushing me forward.
Yeah, I've got a good tip for that. Like social media, because I don't ever want anyone to think I'm telling them that like they shouldn't follow whoever, and I'm never actually gonna ever like penalise anyone for what they put on social media. But a real thing that's helped me, and I think it's always helped, but I've been able to sort of switch myself off a bit of social media because I've only ever used it for work. But remembering that like everyone's on their own journey, and if you view Instagrams like it's a shop, so like you go into someone's shop, if that person, if you don't like what they're selling in that shop, or that shop doesn't make you feel amazing, and it doesn't feel you uplifted, it's a bit like when you eat a chocolate that you don't like, you're not going to go eat it again. Whereas unfortunately, like, we spend so much time going back to these accounts that actually like make us feel like shit. So as soon as you catch that trigger, like use the mute button if they're your friend, because I've done it. Like in recovery, I had to mute loads of people Winners, not because I don't like them, but because I found it triggering. I saw them training and stuff like that, and I was like, oh my god, like I can't see this right now. So like use the mute button, use the unfollow button, and know that like it's never anything to do with you, and it's not to do with them either. It's just that doesn't align with you right now, and what they're selling in their shop isn't beneficial. So just turn around and go find a shop that does work for you.
I love that analogy, and that actually brings me to something I saw on your Instagram this morning, and it was a video of you training and you were facing the wall, and you'd written that you were facing the wall because you just got to do that so that you're not trying to compete with everyone else doing the workout, which I thought was really clever.
I do get laughed at a bit. I just know what I'm like. I'm competitive. I'm a type A personality, and that got me in such great places, but has also got me in a lot of trouble. And I really want to maintain this training that I've got. I've got a really good balance right now, that I'm able to train hard and have a regular period. I'm able to fuel for it, and I'm able to take rest, and it doesn't feel like it consumes me. Fitness is a choice at the moment, whereas it hasn't always been like that. It's been something that I've had to do. So I just have to do these like little weird things that keep me in that choice. And comparison is a thing. No matter how much work you do on yourself, and how much confidence, I will still want to compare myself like to the person next to me, whether that's like a 6'5" guy that's able to lift X amount, or whether that's someone like an absolute beginner. I'm still inclined to want to like sort of compete. So yeah, I face in class. I'll face the wall so I don't get competitive and just focus on my own.
I love that. I love that, and I love the whole thing of making these choices to protect yourself. I think as somebody who sometimes overthinks situations, who can get really anxious about certain things, I've always had this like default setting that I never want to upset someone else, and I think that's quite common. A lot of the girls I speak to have had the same sort of feelings, and again, that's going to stem right back to feeling unworthy, feeling not good enough, and wanting to be accepted. But I think the further along the line in recovery you get, the more you're happy to make those decisions to protect your own well-being.
100%. Yeah, boundaries have got to be clear. I look back and I'm really spiritual, very woo-woo. So I've done a lot of like inner child work and stuff like that. And like I look back and I've got to stage I laugh about it now, because I look at things I would have said yeah to, or like the shit that I would have accepted from certain people, and like there is just no way in my mind that would ever happen ever again. But I think that comes. That's the great thing about recovery, is like things like boundaries and self-confidence. If you're making steps to be a better you, and you can flip this to anyone that's, if they're listening and actually they might be on like flip it, so they might be really struggling with their weight and actually they've been advised to lose weight. As soon as you start showing up to small tiny habits that are stepping you in the right direction, it builds confidence. Like and that's why with all the girls I always say, like, set 3 things that you're going to do every single day that week. They're tiny. It could literally be carbs at every single meal. It could be go for a walk on your lunch break, or it could be meditate for 10 minutes every day. It could be text a friend. Just show up for those 3 things every single day, and naturally you're going to build your confidence. Because I feel like a lot of the time we don't stick to stuff that we want to do, because we spend so much of our time people pleasing and saying yes to everyone else, that we end up shunning everything that we want to do. Then we burn out, and then we're back at square one and we never achieve anything, and then we still feel like shit.
Oh my god, this is so relatable. It's funny because I feel like I've been on a journey of recovery as well, and I feel like I'm at this stage and you're a few stages ahead of me, so it's exciting to like listen to you and hear where you're at.
But there's also like so many stages in front of me.
Yeah.
Like I look forward to dealing with like, I'm like, oh god, I can't wait to sort that shit out.
Yeah, it's like, right, we'll get to that shit in a minute, but I'll just deal with this and then I'll be on to the next box of shit. I want to ask you a little bit about the science behind the fact that you lost your period, and for some of the girls that might not know, what typically it means and what has happened and why your period is not happening regularly.
Yeah, sure. So we actually don't have to have completely lost your period. You may find that you have irregular periods. You may find that you have a short cycle, and things like that. That basically, what I had hypothalamic amenorrhea, which is no period based off, basically, in short, too much stress in the body. Now, exercise is stress on the body, and eating in an energy deficit is stress on the body. Basically, if you think about it, your body is working at optimum. If you give it less than that, or you burn too much than that, your body is literally thinking, whoa, hang on a second, what are we doing? And it raises cortisol to keep like the body functioning, basically. So exercise obviously tears muscles, that's going to stress the body, raises cortisol, that kind of thing. What happens is when we're in a consistent, and I should do a disclaimer, you don't have to be in a huge deficit and training loads to experience amenorrhea. Like it could be a medical condition as well, but so always get it checked out. But if it's hypothalamic amenorrhea, it's probably to do with stress, and that could also come from like work stress. We see people like losing their periods through grief or like really heavy work. But I'll talk based off my experience, which was an energy deficit, basically too much of an extreme energy deficit. So what happens is when I was in a very big energy deficit and I was training a lot, add on top of that, so I've got a stress of a really severe energy deficit, I've got stress of training a lot, and I was plus then the type of training, so I was doing a lot of high intensity interval training, plus then looking at my food again. Only was I in a deficit, but I was really restrictive on sort of food groups. So females need protein, fats and carbs. Carbohydrates help hormone production, so do fats. And I was completely scared of any sort of carbs. So plus then, because I had no energy, I was drinking a lot of caffeine, and you put that, and that is literally the biggest cauldron of stress ever. And then So you look at that, and that basically, when your body is in too much stress, your body will always prioritise movement. I learned this from McGregor when I worked with her. She said, so if you're training nodes, your body suddenly isn't going to shut down and go, sorry, if you can't have a period, like your body, if your body's always going to prioritise putting the energy to movement, it's always going to prioritise movement. So what it's easier to do is switch off things that it doesn't necessarily need to keep you alive and keep pushing the energy where you're needing it. So your body's not going to suddenly, you're not going to like sit down and then suddenly your body go, no, sorry, you haven't got any energy to like walk today and like shut off our legs. Instead, it's going to like start looking at things like making our skin really dry, our hair will start falling out, nails will be really brittle. Digestion isn't essential to keep us alive, so that will really slow down, that will become a bit sluggish because the body hasn't got the energy to put it there. And it's exactly the same with like the reproductive system. To keep you alive, you don't need to be having babies. So, and then also you want to look at it as like, if you're not providing a safe environment for your body to grow another human, it will shut it down. It will tell you like, nah, we can't do this right now. Too much stress in the body and being in a deficit is basically saying that. So hypothalamic amenorrhea is when you don't have the brain doesn't get the signals to produce your sex hormones, and that's how it shuts down basically. So you can see how like through overtraining and it might not be overtraining, it actually might be lack of recovery, and dieting all has that sort of, it's basically like a trigger of stress basically.
Wow, it's crazy to think how clever the body is, but also how it adapts. And what about things like body fat percentage? Was that something that played into you losing your period?
Yeah, 100%. So I haven't looked into it enough to like, but there are some research out there that suggests, in fact, it's probably better if I just shoot you straight to go and see Stephanie Buttermore on this. Though there are research to suggest that our bodies have a set weight, and that can be manipulated sometimes, but our body will sort of always sit at a very comfortable weight, and females especially, we need to have more fat on us because we carry the baby. Like we need more fat on us. If you look at sort of our ribs are there to protect our lungs and stuff like that. What's there to protect our ovaries and our uterus? Like nothing. So we should be having more fat, and a low body fat percentage has shown to cause stress and also shut down the reproductive system as well. Yeah,
I think that is an important factor, because I remember being, in my early 20s and chasing this whole idea of, I'll be happy, my physique will be at its optimum when I've got abs. And I hear it all the time from clients, oh, I just want to get rid of this last little bit here. And it's always what they call their little pouch, which is literally around the stomach, around the ovaries. And mums who are like, I just want to get rid of my little mum tum. And I think it's important to know that in order to do that, you could be giving yourself some health issues, and B, it is kind of unsustainable to maintain.
Yeah, because sometimes that pouch carries your kid's first birthday memories. Sometimes that pouch contains Christmas. Do you know what I mean? It's like actually, do you really want to lose that and lose such a whole element of your life as well? So like you're saying no to when the kids chuck a cake like in your mouth. Do you know what I mean? It's like the kid's first birthday or whatever. Like you would lose so many memories of that. But also I'd look at like, if that's the thing that you think is going to make you feel good, you're looking in the wrong place. Like I would then flip it if it was one of my girls saying that. I'd say like, all right, let's look. Tell me what you think is going to happen when you lose that, and like who is that person that you're going to be like? Are you going to be more confident in the bedroom? Your relationship's going to be really good. Are you going to carry yourself a little bit more? And then it's like, all right, but she must have some habits that she's doing daily to like feel good. And 9 times out of 10, again, I spoke to a girl today, and she was saying like, is it bad that now I've got my period back, I want to lose a bit of weight? And I said, I don't think it's necessarily, I don't think it's bad, by the way. I think like I'm a big believer in like, if you want to change your body to feel more confident, you do, but you don't really want to lose weight. all you really want to do is feel good in your skin and feel confident. So 9 times out of 10, that little pouch, getting rid of that isn't going to give you the confidence and happiness you think it is. But really, it could be keeping that pouch and then working on like whether that's meditation or how you view yourself, or like confidence, or like, you know, when you wake up in the morning, do you chuck on any old sweat and go out the door? Actually, what you might find helps your confidence more is actually showering, washing your hair, like getting ready for the day. Do you know what I mean? It's like little things like that I think we get so caught up in the fact that that little bit of fat is going to be the answer to our problems, when like realistically we can probably like feel more confident elsewhere by looking more inwards than trying to change our outside.
100%. I always remember my counsellor saying to me, like, Leanne, it's not about the food. It's not about the food. It was like a thing that she'd say every session, because like in the early stages of when I was trying to, you know, start my recovery journey, was like, well, I just wish I could just stop eating the food, or I wish I could just not like that food. And she'd always be like, it's not about the food. And I think what you're saying is 100%. It's not about the thing. It's all the other things around it that we can work on.
Yeah. And it's never about the body. Like it literally, as much as we think it is, and I do understand, I know what it's like when you look in the mirror and you think, all right. Like, but from someone that's like gone through it, I feel I'm bigger than what I was before, and I have so much more confidence and feel so much sexier than I ever have done, and I know that is proof that it's not the size of your body. That's all from like up in the head and like how you view yourself.
Yeah, 100% agree. I wanted to ask you about your recovery journey, how it sort of started, what it looked like. And I know you worked with a couple of coaches, who you worked with and how you found out about them.
Yeah. So I started to do like quite a bit of research. I found Nicole Jardin. She wrote the book No Period Now What. So I started to do that, and I started to research a little bit. So what I come across these girls, we're everywhere. We want to make a change, but we're only going to make as much change as what we're happy to make. So like, I knew I had to reduce exercise, and I knew I probably had to eat more. But I still had so many rules. So I would eat maybe a bit more protein, a bit more fat, but I still wouldn't eat carbs. Or instead of doing 7 sessions a week, I would do 5. Or then so I slowly started to make little tiny changes, and then I decided that actually I was going to start training in like calisthenics and gymnastics with the winners. That was amazing for me because it showed that actually I didn't need to be sweating all the time to feel like I had a good session. So I started to make all of these little tiny changes, and don't get me wrong, I think there was a time where I had one period in that, but that was after like some just drinking and barely training. So eventually I went back into good habits, and like obviously I lost it again. Then, like I said earlier, I went to the doctors and they came back and they said, look, your kidneys aren't working great because your hormones are sort of like everywhere. So I looked into Reena McGregor. Now I knew about Reena McGregor because I went to Kenya as a personal trainer on a retreat, and the other trainer alongside me was Natasha Ocean. She's like a big YouTuber. She's amazing. She's just as amazing in person as she is on YouTube. And I got chatting to her, and I knew that she had lost her period, but hers was more from like a competitive standpoint rather than like a full like trying to be skinny standpoint. So I chatted to her and she was like, mate, like go see her, she's amazing. So I booked in with her, and there was a 3-month waiting list. So in that time I just carried on doing what I was doing. I had definitely gained weight, and I sort of switched to a bit more like weight training and calisthenics rather than like loads of cardio and HIIT training. Still wasn't really eating carbs, but I was trying. I was genuinely trying my best without trying. It's like I had one foot in, one foot out, basically, of recovery. And then eventually I had my appointment, and the way I looked at it really, it happened I think it was like 5 days before the lockdown was announced, so it was over Zoom at this point. And the way I looked at it was, I knew everything I needed to do. Bear in mind, as a personal trainer, I'm making sure I used to send girls home if they came to me and they hadn't eaten since breakfast. I'd be like, I ain't training you then. and then go home, I'd be saying to everyone, make sure you're eating enough, make sure you're resting enough. If I saw them in the gym sort of 3 days in a row, I'd be like, rest day tomorrow, or like, don't piss me off, I'd be like that. Yeah, it was such a huge, like, what is it, do as I say, not as I do.
Yeah, I 100% get that.
Yeah, and so then when I got to Rini, I knew everything I needed to do. I knew I needed to just put in limiting habits that I was telling everyone else to do, but I needed someone with professional status to be able to do that. And she literally told me nothing that I didn't already know, but she looked me in the eye and said, you need to do this, because if you don't get your period back, like, that can affect things long term. That can affect your bone health, that can affect your heart health, that can obviously affect your fertility. And I remember like that was sort of like a big turning point for me. I always joked as a teenager, thinking like, I don't ever want to have kids, like, nah, I'm going to be the rich fun aunt, blah, blah, blah. And at that point where like, you think, I thought that was my decision all along, and then you're told, nah, this could really affect your fertility. I mean, realistically, it won't, because it is reversible, but like it could have done. And I was like, shit, actually, like, I really want to be a mum. So then I was in lockdown by myself, and like I said, like, I needed that time by myself. I'd been in a long relationship, like it was like 13 on and off until I was 21. I'd never really been alone since I was like 12. So it was the best thing for me that I was living in my little apartment, and I just sort of, then I started to follow like protocols of, I set beneficial rules for myself. So it's like 3 meals, 3 snacks a day, always a dessert, eat a thin food every day, eat carbs at every meal. Every time something got hard, it was like, that's okay, if I need to restrict today, I can, but I'll go again tomorrow. And then obviously without the training and stuff, I was only doing the 1 walk a day, and I was doing yoga, and naturally my movements were so much less because I was in an apartment. And then I was just sort of like journaling every day, meditating every day, reading constantly about just trying to absorb as much like self-development stuff. Just kept going, I guess. It wasn't easy. I think I fluff it up. I think I have like a picture of myself, of how I was back then, and I think, oh my god, and don't get me wrong, I actually really enjoyed the whole journey, but I think it's easy to forget how tough it was, like, on a day-to-day basis.
So you talk about how sometimes you were like, okay, I need to restrict today. Did you find that like your default settings and like your old ways would come back, but you would just have to sort of like allow it, give yourself the breathing room, and then move on the next day?
I think and do you know what, I still use it now, because I can still be triggered, especially now I'm back training. Obviously you're surrounded by people that might be wanting to lose weight or whatever, so I always gave myself permission to restrict, but what I said was, you can restrict tomorrow, just not today. And then I'd wake up tomorrow and I'd say, like breakfast, I didn't really, like, I was like, God, I really don't need carbs, or blah, blah, blah. I'd be like, alright, fine. But if you do that, that means you've then got to have a bowl of oats before bed. So it was like, it felt as if, and like looking back, I probably was. It was as if I was having conversations with 2 people. It's like I was having to reason with that voice. So I always said to myself, right, eat this meal now, whether it was like, oh, I'll never forget this time. It was in lockdown, and I think it was beans and toast for breakfast, which was like a complete and utter no-go. Sorry, for lunch. A complete and utter no-go for me. And I wasn't hungry until dinner. And I remember texting my stepmom saying, I had beans on toast for, and I wasn't hungry until dinner. And she was like, wow, it's amazing what happens when you actually eat, isn't it? I was like, it's so true. It was like all of these little moments I'd say to myself, okay, you have a choice. You can either don't restrict now, like eat this meal now, eat beans on toast now, and you can restrict it dinner if you want. And then naturally you feel good, and you might have to do, like, you would just like sort of go with it, and then dinner comes and you're like, right, who do I want to be? Like, okay, eat this dinner now, but if you want to restrict tomorrow, you can. And it was like that constant, I think I was so present in every moment, because I knew I had to be, because my autopilot was like carrot and hummus for lunch, and that is it.
Yeah.
I think taking it sort of each day as it came, and giving myself that permission, like, don't worry mate, you can go for a 10-mile run tomorrow if you want. And suddenly it was as if like me saying that to myself was like, alright, okay, I'll rest today then and I'll run tomorrow. And then tomorrow I wake up, and as long as I've meditated and I've journaled and stuff like that, I've shown up for myself, then I'm not going to. But if there ever was a time that I did, because I do remember there's probably about a 4-day time, it was over the bank holiday, that I was like, I struggled quite a bit just with, I really wanted to go for it with training. And I remember then I was just like, do you know what? I'm just going to let myself do what I need to do this weekend, and then I'll come back to recovery after the bank holiday. And I did. I didn't go as bad because I wasn't as restrictive, but I definitely sort of like, I exercised, I did a bit more yoga, and maybe had a smoothie rather than a proper breakfast. Do you know what I mean? It was like little things like that. And then when it came back to Tuesday, I was like, okay, right, you had your blowout. Now it's back on track. With recovery, how bad's that? Before I would have like binged on like alcohol and chocolate, and I would have got back on the diet train. It's literally like flipped.
I think that it's so true about the whole having a conversation with yourself, because I think you do have those core beliefs or default settings or autopilot, like you call it, that will always come back to telling you the same thing and wanting you to do the same thing. Like for me, even still, having a day off exercise is something I struggle with, and it's like I have a constant internal battle with myself, like, you need this, you need the recovery, you need to give your body a break. But in the back of my mind, my brain's going, well, if you don't exercise, guess what, you're going to wake up fat in the morning and blah blah blah. And I think you do have to be present in those moments and try and talk yourself down off that mountain and be like, no, you're not, this is just your default setting, it's just that little devil on the shoulder telling you the things that you used to believe, and you've just got to kind of bring yourself back down.
100%. And I think as well, like when it comes to that, it's like looking at it as just being like, moving your body is good for you, but like at what point does it not good for you? Do you know what I mean? And it's about like recognising that. Like when girls come to me and say, like, I don't want to just sit and watch Netflix, I hate telly, I am the worst person to try and watch a film with, just because I think I'd rather be doing something else. So like no one's saying that on your rest day you have to like sit and do something you don't want to do, but it's like looking at it as being like, could your movement be restorative? So when like could it be a yoga flow, or could it be a walk, but like not a track walk to try and hit X amount of steps, like just a stroll, because that's probably going to still be beneficial and still sort of like tickle that itch, or sorry, scratch the itch if you like. But it's like looking at it of being like, if again, what is it you want, and why do you want that, and is showing up to the gym on a rest day actually showing up as the person you want to be? Probably not.
Yeah. I want to ask you what your routine looks like now in terms of training and food and being in recovery. Like, was it a situation where you were tracking calories, or was it like you just had to give yourself the freedom to just roll with it?
Yeah, I had to really have a break from tracking. I tracked for like 3-4 years maybe. And I knew that me constantly trying to hit a number wasn't giving me the food freedom I needed. Like I needed to be able to go out for coffee and cake with my friends and decide whether that's what I wanted. Not based on a number, but based off like whether I actually fancied it or not. Do you know? I needed time to like not see how much sugar was in certain foods and stuff like that. So I did a complete break, and I followed the protocols of like breakfast, lunch, dinner, 2 snacks and a dessert, and always have a food every single day. Once I then went through like a real big stage of like extreme hunger, which is really common in recovery, because we've been hitting this goal and our sort of like appetite's sort of been suppressed, and then suddenly it's like you rest and your body's tried to recover and get its period back, and suddenly it's like waking up a monster and get so scared because you're like, oh my god, I'm eating so much. But if you lean into that, eventually your hunger does just sort of like normalise. There were definitely times in recovery that I would freak out and download the app, and I would put in and just make sure that I was eating enough, because I don't know, it's sort of counterintuitive. It made me feel better at the time, but then if I saw how much I was actually eating, it would probably freak me out. So it goes back to that whole like not every day is a great day. Nowadays then basically my hunger sort of like standardized, and I just kept a really nice routine, and I still eat three meals, 2 snacks, and 9 times out of 10 dessert. I still sort of follow that, and I still follow like the main basis of recovery of sort of like eating every few hours, never training fasted, eating as soon as you wake up, making sure I have a balance of full meals, and like not just having a chicken salad. Do you know what I mean? It's like where's the carbohydrates, where's the fat source, things like that. So I always follow that, but now I'm actually training really hard. I'm doing CrossFit. Which honestly, I never ever thought that was going to be me. I've always loved a burpee, and I've always loved HIIT, but like I was so
said no one ever, by the way.
But like I've always really enjoyed the like high intensity training, but like I was so against CrossFit. Whereas do you know what? I actually love it. There's no gym, there's no mirrors in the gym, or there is, but like not that you can see. It's all about sort of like performance. It's such a community, and I look forward to going 9 times out of 10 because I want to see the people there. And as well, another good thing is it's a proper program. Like it's built to help you progress, but I'm not the trainer having to write it, which is I think so beneficial. So now I have to fuel. Like now it's like if I want to go and have my fun time, which is how I sort of view training now. Because as well, I only go 3 times a week, sometimes 4 if it's before I've ovulated. That's that whole different story.
We'll save that for the second podcast.
Like if I'm training really hard, I know I need to fuel myself. I know those rest days need to be taken seriously. And it happened to me last week. I didn't take recovery properly. There was a day where I wasn't eating that well, and I didn't rest that well. And the next day I felt like shit, and that meant I couldn't go to the gym. And I was like, for God's sake, like no, I'm missing out on a session. And I think that's what I want everyone to get to a stage at where they find a type of movement, and it doesn't have to be HIIT thrust at the gym. It can be whatever it is you want, but you find a type of exercise that you get so excited to go to that you have to eat well, and you have to take those rest days to be able to go and do it.
I love that. I'm always all about exercise being enjoyable. I think that's why I love group fitness and why I do lots of different stuff, because you know, not only is it a confidence thing. I love weight training in the gym now, but in the beginning I was like, fuck no, am I going in the gym? Like you say, mirrors, metal, men, oh my god, I don't know what I'm doing. So intimidating. And that's why I started like body pump and Zumba, and I did a bit of CrossFit again, because like you, I love the community vibe. I love how everyone cheered each other on. And that's kind of like, I feel, why I've created my own little community of women, and same as you really. So yeah, I love that advice. Did you have to take any supplements or anything to help you with your recovery?
God, I did loads of like holistic treatments as well. So there's a lot of like holistic therapists will recommend like loads of stuff to me. Nothing like directly, but I would really say like iron was a big one for me. The more exercise you do, the more iron your body uses, the more it needs to replenish. So if you're already pretty low in iron, which can be quite common in amenorrhea, and also really quite common in women that exercise, I really had to look at the iron supplementation. Obviously that was also based off the fact that my iron levels are low. So don't ever go and take supplements because you think, I'll try this. Like I'd get blood work done just to check you even did it.
Yeah.
Vitamin D, magnesium for recovery. What else did I take? Probiotic, but I'm slack with that now. But yeah, those I'd say those are my main 4, and I still take iron, vitamin D, and magnesium. Magnesium, I don't know what it is, but it's, I honestly think it's Holy Grail. I don't think I've ever met someone that I love so much in my life. Like sleep, recovery. If I don't take, I take CBD as well, but if I don't have my like little ritual of like taking supplements, I think it could 100% be a placebo, but I just don't think my life goes well.
I love that. I've actually got a few questions from people. I think some of them you've answered, but one of my girls asked me to ask you, is years of restrictive dieting the potential reason why I now am experiencing perimenopause symptoms?
Yes.
There's the answer. Yes.
Yeah, potentially. And it might not be perimenopause symptoms. It might be like low energy availability, like amenorrhea. Please go get blood work done, and then your doctor 9 times out of 10, if it's your GP, unless you're really lucky, doesn't have the knowledge that you need them to have. So go and seek, if you can, and fingers crossed you're in that position, you can go and see like a dietitian or private. I would really, really recommend it. Doctors are absolutely fantastic, but they're just not trained in it. And we can't expect them to know everything about everything, right? So if you are going through those, you don't have to continue to live like that. Please go and find a dietitian or find someone. There's loads on Instagram that might be able to support you on that.
Okay, amazing. And somebody asked me, how do you accept your new body if it gains weight through recovery?
I think you've got to look at it as life as a whole. Rather than we're so good at compartmentalising things. So it's like, okay, my food, I don't have any restrictions there, that's alright, but my body's this. And then we're so, our brains are always going to focus on the negative. I think there's actually studies come out that have suggested that that actually is a thing.
Yeah.
And so it's about like looking at it and looking at that as like a factual thing, and then like zooming out and just being like, okay, I might not be that size, but how different is my life now? How different are my relationships? And that includes with myself, with food, with romantic relationships, with friendships, with family. How much better are they? How much more free is my mind? Because that's a big thing for me. Like. And how much more energy do I have? Like, I'm doing stuff in work that I've always wanted to do, but never done, and never understood why I didn't do it. And really, it's just because I didn't have the energy to do it. Like, there was no way that I could like sit and record. Like, say I was still PTing. Like, if we were going to do this podcast in my break as a PT, like, mate, there was no way I was going to actually do that. I was snapping. So it's like zooming out and looking like, yeah, okay. I don't know, because I also think that I look so much better with more weight. Like, I'm definitely not as toned, and that can be difficult, and I definitely look different in clothes, and that can be difficult. But shop for clothes that fit your body. Don't try and shop for clothes that still fit your body. Get rid of your old clothes.
Yeah.
Unfollow people on social media. Look at your life as a whole, and like look at your life and like be so grateful for how far you've come. Like, and remember as well, like recovery weight gain doesn't mean recovery weight gain is shit. Like you can still train and do weights, like to tone up. You can still, do you know what I mean? Like we're so programmed to think that bigger is worse. Whereas like actually like I've spent so many years trying to gain a bump by weightlifting in a deficit, and actually now I have the bump, and all I need to do is just gain a bit of weight
and eat more food. It's a win-win situation.
Yeah, it is really hard. Like I'm not shunning that, but I think there are little things you can do, like dressing for your size, like showing up every day. Like, is it doing your hair? Is it getting your nails done and stuff like that? That just sort of take like you can still feel amazing, not being that size. In fact, I'm sure you can feel even better not being that size, because you'll feel so much more free.
I love that, and I was going to ask you for your top tips on someone starting their recovery journey, but I think you've just nailed it in that answer. And I think that would be a good place to say thank you so much for sharing your story on my podcast and helping us understand a little bit more about your journey. And it's been a pleasure. Thank you so much.
You're so welcome. I've absolutely loved it.
Yeah. And if people want to follow you, what is your Instagram name?
I'm at Hodgkinson on Instagram, YouTube, and it's the femaleFeelGoodClub.com if that is my website.
Amazing. And you coach girls that are looking to start their recovery and get their periods back?
If you're going through sort of like disordered eating or amenorrhea or anything like that, and you want a bit of accountability coaching, or you might have recovered and you're looking to get back into training, then that's the sort of coaching I do. I sort of work alongside the dietitians and the nutritionists. So if you're just starting recovery, unless you've got a program for that, I'll probably shift you over to them first.
Okay, amazing. Thank you so much. I'll definitely be getting you on for part 2 because there's just so much to talk about, isn't there? So thanks for joining us, guys, and we'll be posting it on YouTube, and you'll be able to listen to it on iTunes, etc. So please download it, give it a little share once you've read it, and listen to it, read it, whatever you're doing, and let us know how you found it. Thanks, Pete.